MrBeast Games is seen as really good and really bad. If you are a fan of MrBeast, which is apparently 300 million people according to his subscriber count, you loved this show. You loved everything about it. You thought it was the greatest thing ever, and the Amazon numbers reflect that. It is ranked number 1 in roughly half of the countries in the world, according to his own statement. I was trying to find some statistics to back this up, and I could find absolutely zero, a total of none. To back this up, I tried to look up profit margins. I tried to look up how many people subscribe to Amazon for it. I looked up a lot of things and I couldn't find anything. All I was finding is reviews. And let's be honest, guys, the reviews are very polarizing. There is a 72% popcorn meter, which is the normal watcher, and a 13% tomato meter, which is the Amazon critics, the film critics, etc. Like I said, if you like MrBeast, you love this. If you like YouTube, you probably love this. There's not very many people that don't love this, that are just average people. Would a lot of people go out and buy an Amazon Prime subscription just to be a part of MrBeast Games and watch the trend like you would do for something like Squid Game? When the second season comes out, you're going to buy a Netflix subscription to keep up with it? Not really. I don't think anybody was going out and buying Amazon Prime to keep up with MrBeast Games. I think if anything, people were asking their friend if they had an Amazon Prime account or just already had one and happened to watch it because they already like YouTube. I really don't think it's sold that much, which is why we're not seeing profit margins. We are instead seeing things like number 1 in countries that are not United States, or number 1 viewed on reality TV show for MrBeast Prime. Like, there's just a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff. And like I said, critics and normal people are polarized. 5.2 rating on IMDb. Vox said they can't stop watching MrBeast's new game show and they hate themselves for it. IGN said it has a 2 out of 10. Beast Games on Metacritic got a 38 out of 100 on user, and arguably worse on the non-critic ratings. Contestants are having allegations going back and forth all over. MrBeast on Google.com. I don't know where exactly they pull the reviews for this. I imagine it's just Google reviews or something like that. Has either 1-star reviews or 5-star reviews. There is 0 in between when it comes to actual real reviews. I will not lie. A lot of 5-star reviews sound like bots. But also, 5-star reviews almost always sound like bots. It's something like, this is great. Because obviously, when you are compelled heavily to hate something, you're going to do more than if you're compelled to love, or you love something. But with that being said, there are some new allegations that came up against MrBeast. Against MrBeast, which is Nick Giassi's allegations. He claims that he broke his NDA by talking about this specific thing. He talks about the food on MrBeast Games, the pre-MrBeast Games, and I'm going to sit down and watch this with you guys. See if I think it's even warrants an entire allegation. See if he has any grounds to sue anybody. See if anything can even possibly happen to MrBeast for these things. Starting with MrBeast pre-games of MrBeast. Go ahead and watch this.
Creators. So how did I hear about the Beast Games? Ironically enough, I was scrolling through Instagram and then saw an ad saying, hey, would you like to be on Mr. Beast?
Also, I apologize if you're watching this in 2 times speed. You're going to be watching it in 4 times.
I signed up and didn't think anything of it. 2 weeks later, somebody from the Beast team sends me a text message asking me if I'm still available on a set date. All the information that we got from the Beast team regarding the Beast Games was very minimal. And I know they did it on purpose to kind of keep those. So because of that, I went to the internet and tried to find some information on Beast Games, which I couldn't really find anything until I came across this video of Mr. Beast.
It's going to be the largest game show in history, with the most contestants any game show's ever had, with the largest cash prize in history. That I'll probably reveal later, but you can imagine what the cash prize was on Squid Game. It's higher than that.
So between signing up and going to the game was probably like a 2 process. And mind you, once I found out that I was actually going to the game and that there's $5 million on the line, your mind is racing at all times. I'm literally anxious. Every night I couldn't sleep because I just kept thinking, like, what am I going to do with this money? Because in my mind, I'm going to win. Very low chance of me winning, but in my mind, I'm going to win. The Beast team sends me an email confirming my itinerary, and they also let me know that I have to be wearing certain clothing items on my way to Vegas because they're going to potentially start filming by the time we get there. They told us to wear black pants with no logos, black socks with no logos, and black shoes with no logos. So I arrive in Las Vegas, and now there's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people with black shoes and black pants, no logo. This was the first misstep that the Beast team had on my experience through the Beast Games. When we get to Las Vegas, they give us a little QR code for us to use on Uber. It does not work. I'm in my early 30s, so thank God I have my life somewhat together, especially financially. So I'm able to afford an Uber. I don't care if I have to pay out of pocket, get my Uber from the airport to the hotel. It's literally like a 10-15 minute drive anyways. But I know there's a lot of people that aren't in the same boat, and they need that QR code to work because who knows, maybe they don't have an extra $30 in their bank account. So from the airport, we get to the Rio, which is the...
So that's right there is the first situation where I say that is the fault of a contestant, not the fault of MrBeast. Yes, I understand that you are promised a QR code for an Uber to the Las Vegas area. According to him, you are 15 minutes away. So from the airport to the hotel, you are 15 minutes away. If you don't expect to pay just a little bit on transportation in your job, you are probably not made for the job. I don't think there's any fledgling actors out there that wouldn't expect to pay to get to the interview. You always have to pay to get to the interview. And when you get a job, are you going to drive a company car to the job on the first day? Absolutely not. These are basic transportation. Obviously, they paid for the flights. That's the important part. That's like the $500 cost. They paid the hotel. That's an expensive cost. You got to get to the hotel. And people apparently complained about this. This is not an okay thing to complain about. This is the worst possible thing you can complain about. Ubers. Come on. Next one. Next accusation, allegation. I don't really think it's an allegation, really. This guy seems pretty cordial with Mr. Beast. But the next thing he talks about is how terrible the food was. And I real quick want to mention, I've seen multiple other people say that the food was fine. The food was great. You know, it was chicken and oatmeal. That was what it was. So it's not good, but it wasn't terrible either. And they were well fed. Well fed and tastes good. It's two very different things. Let's go ahead and listen to how he describes the food and see what he says.
Disgusting. But I think it was done on purpose. I think it's meant to weave out the week. There's two essential meals. Meal number one, you had some oatmeal with absolutely no flavor. Literally no salt, nothing, no sugar, nothing. It was literally just water and oatmeal. Meal two was boiled chicken. I mean, they said it was had grill marks. No, they literally just painted a little grill mark on it. That was boiled chicken with some rice or sometimes quinoa. Again, no seasoning at all. And then they had two little pieces of veggies, which were the most disgusting veggies I've ever had in my entire life. They tasted stale. Luckily, by the second day, I found out that our utensils had little salt packets in them. Oh my God. Adding a little bit of salt onto some boiled chicken that you've been eating for the last 24 hours, it was amazing. Throughout our time in the challenges and on the field, they started handing out Feastables, which is Mr. Beast's chocolate. I found out that the best thing you can do is save some of those chocolate bars, keep them in your back pocket so it gets nice and warm and a little bit melted, and then throw those chocolate pieces inside of the oatmeal. This is still day one, Friday. Technically, this is Saturday at like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. We finished up our meal and now we're getting back.
So they were given chocolate, chicken, quinoa, and oatmeal. None of that sounds very attractive. I hate oatmeal personally. Quinoa gets stuck in my teeth. Chicken's fine, but not if it's clearly boiled. That doesn't sound like a very fun thing to eat. I can definitely agree with that. I can attest to that. But personally, I don't see Mr. Beast to blame for any of this. I see Mr. Beast as someone who is trying to feed 2,000 people for cheap, and so he went cheap. That's not really a negative thing. All these people walked away with $2,000. Is eating 2 days of chicken and quinoa worth $2,000? Because I can tell you right now, I'd eat chicken and quinoa for a whole month if somebody prepared it for me, gave it to me, and that's for free. $2,000 is a bonus on that. Getting meals cooked for me, that's a W. Continuing though.
Onto the field. We don't know what's going to happen right now. As we're getting back on the field, I just see a bunch of people
talking about the tug of war, which was basically a tug of war with a boulder. There was 5 teams, boulders at the end. They had to pull the boulder all the way up to the top. And if they didn't pull the boulder all the way up to the top in the time limit before it took all the other teams to do it, then your team was eliminated. That's all there was to it. And honestly, that would take a pretty large amount of exertion, especially in a covered dome such as the stadium that they were in. Doesn't sound to be the greatest thing in the world. And I could see how people would get dehydrated in that situation. Continuing though.
From there on out, the Beast team made sure to always give us hydration packets. With a show like this and it being season 1, they've never done this before. They don't really know the bells and whistles and certain things that people.
I also want to note nobody has ever done this before. Not to be a Mr. Beast glazer here again, but 2,000 people has never been done before. He mentions that many, many, many times. 2,000 people is a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So let's keep that in mind whenever we're talking about this specifically as well.
Might need. They don't anticipate these things, you know? And when you get to season 2 or 3, you kind of already know how things go. We have things in place in case something like that happens. But because this was season 1, we didn't really get the benefit of the doubt. And there was a lot of instances and moments that showed that we were in season 1. For example, there's a lot of people that have medication that they need. So what they needed to do is hand their medication over to the medical team, and the medical team would set up a desk so that you can go and ask them for your medication and they would give it to you. However, that only got established on Saturday morning. So if you have a medication that, let's say, you have to take twice a day, you're going to miss out on Friday night and Saturday morning. And that could put some people's lives at jeopardy. And then there was the clean under.
So in my opinion, what I feel like really should have happened in this situation, and again, hindsight, they should have brought their medication on their person if they really thought it was that important, and they should have stressed that to the staff. Again, contestants are signing up. I'm sure there's waivers in the signing that says if you have medication, you will be entitled to it. You will get it. And though I personally don't take any medication that will stop or end my life, I know that there's definitely people that do. and I know that they deserve that. But also at the same time, you're signing up for something in which you are going to be isolated from society. You are going to be isolated from a lot of different things. And if you caused a big enough fuss about it, I feel like you would have been fine. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe there were so many people that didn't cause a fuss that it's impossible. But I'm pretty sure 2,000 people saying, hey, we need our medication is going to get people to give them their medication fast. And they probably get sued for this. I would say probably yes. Denying anybody's medication in any way, even if it was just oh, we don't have that set up yet, that they could probably get sued for that, especially life-threatening anything.
Wear situation. Also, just like the medication, everybody was supposed to put, I think, 3 to 5 of their undergarments inside of a plastic bag with your name on it. And when you wanted fresh underwear, they would give you fresh underwear if you went to the desk and you checked in with them. But when you have 2,000 people, or at this point 1,600 people, it's still very hectic, and that's a lot of people to manage. So throughout our time there at Allegiant Stadium, we did not shower. They gave us some deodorant wipes and toothbrushes. So yeah, by the time you leave Allegiant Stadium, you stink. You stink so bad by the time you leave that stadium that you don't even realize that you stink, because everybody around you stinks. Thus, your nose is just used to that crappy, musky smell. They gave us a sleeping bag and the little thing to block your face, and that was it. You're about to go to sleep at about 7, 8 in the morning on Saturday. Mind you, I don't know if you've ever been or seen Allegiant Stadium. It's a covered stadium. However, you can see the sun at all times. It's daytime when you're sleeping. Thank God we had those little things right there, but still, you're exhausted. That's how you can fall asleep, but you're still off of adrenaline, and you just don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if he's just gonna wake you up and be like, all right, challenge starts now. Even though they technically can't do that because they have to give us enough time to rest, you don't know what to expect.
So he's saying you don't know what to expect, which I think is very important. I mean, like, obviously in a chess, you need to have very established ground rules. You need to have a lot of established things. And again, season 2 should solve this problem, but this seems very inhumane. They should have had like some type of quarters, some type of living quarters where they can be subject to basic hygiene and they can sleep. We saw the same thing on that Jake Weddle video where like the lights were on 24/7. I criticized that before, where I said he kind of needs to just put up with it because he got so much money. These people were competing for less money. They weren't guaranteed money. And on top of that, Jake Weddle had insight. In this situation, these are normal people. They don't expect inhumane conditions. They expected like actual, like real sleeping bags with probably some type of cubicle area. And I don't know the logistics behind it, but could he not have expected some type of wall in between them? Even like bath stall type walls where like they're not even fully to the ground. Like, could they not have gotten something like that? Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that could have happened, or even hosed them off. Like if it's a shower you want, you just need a hose. You just hose yourself off and you're good.
Mind is wired. So we sleep from about 8 a.m. to about 12 p.m., 4 hours. Mind you, we were supposed to sleep for a lot longer, according to the production team. However, like I said, everybody's mind is running at 1,000 miles an hour right now, so nobody can really sleep. So once one person's up and you start hearing some gossip beside you, because even though you have that little thing to block your eyes, you can still hear everybody, and everybody's talking, everybody's being loud. So in the beginning of day 2,
that's another thing. Have you ever tried to fall asleep at 9 p.m.? If you try to fall asleep at 9 p.m., you got to be in your bed like 30 minutes before that, because there's no way you're going to force yourself to fall asleep way earlier than what you normally would. Well, I'm assuming you fall asleep 10, 11 o'clock normally. There's just no way you're going to fall asleep way before you ever would without preparation. You know, I go to sleep 7 and 1 a.m. every night. That's just what I do. And so if I try to fall asleep before that, there's zero chance, zero possibility that I'm going to collapse due to exhaustion. My body just doesn't care. It would rather operate on yawns and winks than go to sleep before I'm used to. I have to really, really focus my brain in to make it fall asleep early.
this is when things kind of took a turn and my humanity was a little bit lost. My team was the second to last team. So at this point, all the guys that were the chef in our kitchen, which all these chefs ain't gonna work out, they're trying to have a team meeting. But at this point, nobody else on the team wants to listen to what they have to say.
So here he starts talking more about his teams and how speculation kind of ruins the games. He starts more about the games. You can already see that. He talks about friendships and connections you can make. This video is already getting long, so I don't want to make it longer than it has to be. But yeah, basically the point is he talked adjusting. That's another thing as well. If you're on a contestant game show like this, I'm sure there's lots of people that have trouble adjusting after a game show such as Survivor or anything like that. That's even more extreme, where you're going into a freaking island and that's entirely remote, no contact, no nothing. I don't even know if you get undergarments changed and all that. Obviously, it's a little different, but they even operate on like low amounts of food. They have to ration themselves, which is insane as well. But anyways, the point of this video I'm trying to make is that I think a lot of these allegations are going to fall on absolute deaf ears. I think a lot of people are going to see it like me, where realistically, you knew what you were signing up for. You know what Mr. Beast is. There's to it. But I think critics aren't understanding that they don't understand what Mr. Beast is. They don't understand what Mr. Beast games normally consist of. They normally consist of pushing your mind and body to the absolute limit and making you crash, making you stop. It's not like a luck-based game show like Wheel of Fortune. I mean, you're just spinning a wheel at that point. You don't got to do anything exerting. I mean, maybe exerting for you. You're just switching it down. It's not like a trivia game like Jeopardy. It's just nothing like any of these critics have ever seen. And that's the thing that the critics aren't understanding. Mr. Beast games will probably not get renewed. I hate to say it for anybody who is expecting a Mr. Beast season 2. I don't think it's going to get renewed. I think there's too many critics and it caused too much of a stir that Amazon Prime is not going to care to remove it or to renew it. I don't think there's enough interest on the critic side. And I think a better alternative to this would be something like Amazon Prime or YouTube TV supporting Mr. Beast to have it on YouTube and to promote some specific good or product. That's just me. That's just speculation. Trust me, bro, on this. Anyways, guys, this has been an amazing video. We're going to go ahead and end it with today's verse of the day, which is Acts 8:35. Then Philip began with that very passage of scripture and told him the good news about Jesus. If you ever like to talk about Jesus or anything at all, come to my public Discord. Let's talk about Jesus. Link in the description. You all have a blessed day.